We will call to order the regular meeting of the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners for Tuesday, November 11th, 2014. Good morning, everyone. My name is Langdon Neal. I'm chairman of the board. Seated to my left is Commissioner Marisol Hernandez, and to my right is Commissioner Richard Cowan. First thing on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda, any additions or deletions. If not, we will move to approval of the minutes from November 4th, 2014, the meeting held at 7 a.m. Everyone have an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's...
Do we have the 7 p.m. minutes?
And do we have the canvas board minutes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, we do. Has everyone had an opportunity to read those?
Yes. Motion to approve?
Moved by Commissioner Hernandez.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Cowan. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Executive Director's Report, Mr. Goff. I'll just begin before you start by commending you for your creativity and hard work and skill in pulling off what was a very, very difficult election. I think each election we have new challenges to face. We've certainly had some challenges to face which we did not expect. You managed to steer the ship and keep us going throughout the day and get the results counted. As we have discussed, there are several parts of the performance that need tightening up, to say the least. It needs to be addressed. And I think board members feel we know you'll address them aggressively. Well, we took we always continue to move forward. There were a couple of areas where we usually excel, which we did not. All in all, I think we made it through. That's kind of my feeling. So, turn over to any other board members wanted to speak about Tuesday?
Well, I think it's appropriate we're meeting on Veterans Day because Tuesday made veterans out of everybody at the board if they weren't already in that category. It was a very tough one, and I always like to quote Lance, it won't be pretty, but I'll give you an election, and he did. And certainly my compliments to you, to the staff, and everyone else who got us through a difficult storm.
It's true. And I echo all of those comments. Despite the issues and the obstacles we had, we continue to be very proud of our employees here and the staff, the administrative staff, for dealing with all of those issues and coming out
Alive.
Well, I'd like to thank the board members for those words. Just to let you know, it was the staff that did the work. And if you go downstairs on the 6th floor, it's like The Walking Dead. I mean, they've worked 20 hours on Tuesday, and they came back. And with, as you see, a close election contest, it, A, brings out all the flaws in the office, and B, it brings up which people really work. And I have to say, some of the staff has put in some unbelievable hours. This was a real difficult election. It wasn't pretty, but you have to look at our vote counting. We still came up at the end of the night. We reported all precincts but 26, I think it was, which I thought was very good, considering all the problems that we have with judges. Our service techs out in the field did an unbelievable job. I spoke to one gentleman who went to a polling place where the judges were having trouble. Our tech walked in, and the judges got up and left, and just left him there with all the equipment for him to break down and bring the stuff out to the receiving station. I mean, those are the kind of reports that we're getting now. So I think we need to do a post-mortem of this election. There's some things that we need to concentrate on. And just to let the board members know, filing petitions start on Monday. I have people come, as you can see, we have computers set up here because I can't do our public viewing area on the 6th floor because they're checking provisional ballots. So I have to set up this room, and we're going to set up the lower level. We haven't even done the canvas yet. We'll do the canvas on Saturday. So this has really turned out to be with a race this close, it's turned out to be a massive headache.
Yes.
But I think we know what went wrong, and I think we will concentrate on making those corrections. I'd just like to thank my staff. They did an unbelievable job with everything working against us.
Yep. Yep.
And hopefully the February election will be a lot smoother, and I think it will, for this reason that we all saw how large this ballot was.
Mhm.
This ballot took people 15, 20 minutes to vote. All of our sites were slugging through trying to get people to vote. If you take 20 minutes to
Yes.
vote, there's no way we have enough equipment.
Right.
With this upcoming election, you have mayor, city clerk, city treasurer, and alderman. You can get in and out of a booth within 5 minutes. So that will help.
Yes.
I took a lot of criticism for our early grace period registration sites, the 5 that we had. If things worked the way they're supposed to,
Right.
with shortage of judges, if we did not have that, if we didn't have problem with some of the equipment, those 5 sites would have handled it quite well.
Correct.
So these are the things that we're looking at, and we will make changes hopefully. So I apologize, but we'll take care of this.
All right. Anything else in your report, Mr. Goff?
No, I'm trying to figure out
You
where
want
we're
to talk
at.
about, we talked about immediately enhancing some equipment for our,
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I spoke to the chairman, and we had a meeting the other day. Our hearing officers we're gonna supply laptops for our hearing officers. I don't want somebody else's equipment accessing our site. So we're gonna give each one of the hearing officers a laptop to operate from. I think this will work out better. We can follow everything a lot easier, clearer, and we'll have the security there. So just to let the board members know, we're purchasing 26 laptops for our hearing officers. And I think it'll work out well. We discussed it in a couple of meetings, so. Laurel, we've already started purchasing those? Okay, very good.
purchasing process.
Yes,
Yeah.
we got it.
And it's clear that all 26 are comfortable with laptops, know how to use them.
I hope so.
Mr. Scanlon?
Well,
Our lawyers or?
We'll have a little training course,
Yeah,
get them used to it.
but I think it'll work out really well.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Goff. Ms. Bateman?
Well, could I?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I would like to suggest, as we've done in the past, that after you have the managers meeting and the wrap up, that we have a full and thorough discussion at the board level of the findings, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that we have an opportunity to comment, even offer some input to the managers meeting ahead of time, if any of the commissioners choose to do so.
And we will. As you see that Karen Chin is now doing our minutes for our managers meetings. It's been very helpful. So when we have that, you'll have a full report of what we find and what corrections that we'd like to take.
We're going to have to kind of accelerate that process though, because we're already.
Chairman,
Yeah, right.
we've already started working on that.
Yeah, I know.
I just want to let you know.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Ms. Bateman.
yes.
We did survive. We're still in it, though. It's not over yet, so. I commend the registration department. They're the department that works all year long. They did a fabulous job with registration, entering all the registrations that we received, and now they are swamped with the provisional. We have a lot of watchers who are stuck like glue to the employees, and then they're going to move right into petition filings, objections, records exams. So done a great job. Warehouse, they're in the, you know, they're getting the ESCs back and starting the cleanup. We start the 5% tomorrow. The state board required 5% recount of both election day as well as early voting and grace period. So that'll start tomorrow at the warehouse. And then we're just getting through it.
Yeah.
Doing our best to get through it, so. We haven't even had a chance to look at the report yet for election day, but we will. It's on our agenda early next week. Go through that. See where-
We're looking at the judges and how many no-shows we had. And
Right, yes. They're completing the payroll now, so we will have those numbers as far as did not serve as soon as the payroll is complete.
Okay. All righty. Anything from Ms. Bateman? Okay. Excellent job again, Ms. Bateman. Same words go to you. Mr. Allen?
Morning, Commissioners. On the communications front, I think the mailing was successful. The website worked out well, but we probably needed to work on our increasing communications with our voters. Before we go any further, I want to thank the voters. We had 48% turnout right now. That's the latest figure. Mr. Chairman, you wisely didn't read too much into the higher use of early voting and absentee voting. I think we've all had enough experience with that and have seen it grow at all these different levels that we know that that's just a reflection of more people who would have come out on election day simply exercising their right beforehand. Mr. Goff referenced the same-day sites. I want to apologize to one voter in particular who took offense at my remarks, Mr. Kevin Rack, in terms of describing the same-day registration voters as procrastinators. In some cases, in addition to Mr. Kevin Rack, some of those voters were sent to those sites, even though they may have had a registration in the system. We could have done better. This was our first time having same-day registration all the way through the grace period program. We had about 175 voters every day, and we had no reason to expect that we would exceed even a presidential same-day registration number with 2,300 on that last day. So to voters who persevered, in some cases 7-8 hours, we owe to those are really dedicated voters, and we should salute them. But we should also plan to do better if and when we have same-day registration at some point in the future, perhaps at all precincts or at 5 sites. That's it.
Comments from Mr. Allen? I'll just say, yeah, we'll have to do better on same-day registration. I think it was, we have to remember, it was a pilot program. There's some easy things we can do, like get larger rooms, and we can allocate more equipment, and we can address some of the issues that we had on election day that caused those, some of the things caused the long delays at same-day registration. And that was the real blemish, I'll just say, on the entire system, the day. So we'll, as I said, that'll be addressed aggressively. Thanks for your work, Mr. Allen, too, and being under fire all day long with a lot of issues. Taking you out of order, Mr. Scanlon, you want to say anything today? Because despite all the pressure and confusion and things that were going on, Mr. Scanlon was, as usual, as you say, as cool as the other side of the pillow. Maintain his composure, his calmness, solid decision-making. Appreciate it, Jim, as always.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I really don't have anything to add. I do have a couple of matters when we get to executive session with regard to pending litigation.
Okay.
to discuss an executive session. Other than that, I don't have much to add at this point. Kelly made the point, we're still slugging through here, so still have some work to do before we put this one to bed.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to old business. Infrastructure projects and changes in election administration, ongoing. Ongoing. Electronic poll books, their performance is under review. Voting equipment, their performance is always under review, but everything I hear that, by getting all the results as fast as we did, despite all the things that happened, really remarkable, and I think a good performance by Dominion.
The equipment held up a lot better than I thought.
Without a doubt.
Just to let you know.
I think it was a good performance by Dominion. Legislation, Jim, anything there you want to talk about?
We do have the veto session coming up at the end of this month. I don't know if there's going to be any election legislation coming out of that, but I think we should be prepared for the possibility, including the possibility that there may be an extension of grace period
Yes.
registration, and because that, as you indicated earlier, was a pilot program for the general election, but there's still a distinct possibility that may be put into place permanently. So we have to plan for that contingency.
Okay. Okay. New business, judges of election.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
had asked that that be added to
Okay.
the agenda. Given the substantial work that is still ongoing and the staff involvement in so many other things, we really haven't closed this election yet. I'll defer my comments on that, but I think the entire area of judges of election is one that needs to be reviewed
Yes.
from the beginning through the end, and I'll have some suggestions, including the idea of seeking legislation to allow appointment of independent judges, which we've talked about, so that maybe we can then use PPAs and student judges to fill the regular spots, which will make the panels easier, smaller, hopefully more functional. Some other suggestions, but that can await a slightly later date to get into. So I would just ask that that be a continuing agenda item, and I will have some further specific suggestions for the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anything else? Okay. Legal status report, Mr. Scanlon.
Mr. Chairman, nothing to report other than the fact that I think there are a couple of matters under pending litigation I would like to reserve for discussion in executive session.
Okay. There is no financial report today. Then we'll move to the public comment section. Terry, anything for us today?
Well, I voted over at Cambridge Manor, and everything was going fine there. I went over at 10 o'clock. There was no line by that time. However, I did have to wait to get to a machine or a place to vote. And, well, let's see, Karma voted out in Montgomery Place, and she found a problem there, and she's going to write it up and send it in. Maybe you're already up on it.
I got a call from the administrator out there, so
Yeah.
we're looking into that.
Well, I was able to impress people by saying I had a very good idea of who was behind the problem.
Yes, we know.
All righty. Any other public comment? All right. I'll accept a motion to recess into executive session to discuss pending or probable litigation.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and properly seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
We were back on the record. The board took no action in executive session, which requires a vote in open session. So at this time, I'll accept a motion to recess until our next regular scheduled board meeting, which I assume is next Tuesday?
Yeah, is it?
No, actually, the next regularly scheduled
I
meeting
The
should say,
20th,
yeah.
is
right?
November 25th.
Right.
However, the board is currently scheduled to proclaim the results of the November 4th election on Thursday, November 20th
All right, so,
at 10 a.m.
So
can
why don't we
the
make that a-
20th that meeting and change the,
yes. So let's make the 20th a special meeting of the board, and then maybe we don't need to do the 25th.
So we want the 17th.
Moved and properly seconded for discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Stand adjourned.